Hello and welcome! This is a 100 Days in Minecraft Hardcore Challenge. It is my first ever one, and I thought I'd share what happened in my attempt for the 100 days, whether or not I succeeded or didn't, how far I got, or what I did when I completed the challenge. So, no gimmicks, no tricks, just grinding. Day 1 we spawned in. I didn't choose a starter chest, I felt that was cheating, so I wanted to start with nothing in my inventory. I immediately started collecting materials. I chopped down a few trees, hoping to maybe get some apples as well as wood. But as soon as I chopped down trees, I thought it might be a good idea to take a look around at my surroundings and decide which direction to go. And after I cut down this one right here, I looked to the left and you can see the outline of a village. I got excited, so I started heading that way, hoping that we could maybe get some potential loot, as well as materials and food supplies. Right off the bat, an amazing spawn point, can't complain. And I was right. Mesa Village, right off the bat. And the first thing you do when you enter a lovely neighborhood is you break in the front door, like I did here. But anyways, as soon as I found the village, the first thing I did was I stole all of their crops. They will go hungry in the winter, but I will have a nice fat belly, so I do not care. I got some wheat seeds and some melon seeds from the first farm, and then I thought of maybe checking most of the buildings, get a bed, and hopefully the chests had some decent loot. So right after I collected all the seeds, the first thing I said was, "Oh, the chests!" And this one, not so good. We just had a bunch of empty maps on this one, unfortunately. But that's okay, I'm sure there's going to be better loot in the other chests, right? In the meantime, I will take this to store my goodies in eventually. I don't know why I took the cartographer table. I was just feeling greedy that day. In the second chest, we got some bread, which I will not complain, food is food. But again, we just got a bunch of empty maps. And then in the third chest, we had another loaf of bread, and then 3 pairs of leather pants. I only had 1 set of legs, but I took all 3. After that, we boxed up some poor villagers in their homes so we can come back for them later without them getting hurt by zombies. Then we went to the other farms collecting the fully grown wheat and some more seeds for when we start our farm. I thought this was a good idea, that way I can focus more on building my home and surviving the night rather than growing crops right off the bat. I was trying to find melon seeds, it didn't work out, and then right next to the village, believe it or not, there was a ruined portal. My luck today will not run out. So, da-da-da, in the chest was a golden apple. One of the best things you can get, especially when doing a hardcore challenge. We also got an efficiency golden shovel and a fire protection 5 boots, which is super cool. So I now have leather pants and enchanted golden boots. As you can tell, I was very excited here. Next thing we did is there was a mountain right next to the village, so I decided to maybe dig in there, create a little hobbit hole that I can survive the night while I gathered materials and decided where I wanted to stay. Chopped down some more trees, and as nightfall, I took the bed I stole from the village, ran back into the Hobbit Hole, placed the bed, and slept the night, ending day 1. In the morning of day 2, I thought it'd be a good idea to gather some more materials before I make any decisions on where I want to stay or what I want to do for my main base. I decided as long as I was there, I would at least make a temporary little hut. So, following the Hobbit Hole theme, I decided to actually make a Hobbit Hole. I went with a semicircle design using a couple of full blocks, mostly half slabs and staircases to get this archway look. And once you figure out the pattern you want to do on one side, you just got to copy it right over to the other. It was a little difficult because I had to move some of the grass blocks out of my way to make sure it stayed symmetrical, but then it helped because it looked kind of built into the mountain, which I did like. Afterwards, we did some landscaping, got rid of some of the dirt blocks that were underneath, kind of clear it out, and give us a little more room to work with when we did the wall behind it. Because that is just the archway, believe it or not. Our next step here, after I fix the grass that was bothering me for some reason, is we're going to dig out the wall in the back. Completely get rid of everything and then start placing logs down. Could be any logs. I chose whatever I had an abundance of, which was the ones in the mesa biome, which is fine. Afterwards, you can strip the logs, which will give you this nice texture, being smooth but still having a pattern instead of the planks. As you can see, the oak planks and that orange log just looks so fantastic. It really gives the Hobbit Hole theme. My OCD, again, kicking in. I have to fix it, or else I will probably lose my mind. But, so boom. Outside of our Hobbit Hole, done. Simple as that. Now all we have to do is dig inside. Started out by digging into where our original hole was, and then digging out the side walls and placing oak. But unfortunately, night was falling really quickly, so that was day 2 wrapped and done. Sleeping through the night of day 2, starting day 3 fresh in the morning. So far, I got very lucky with those beds. I haven't had to do a extremely tough night yet, otherwise I would have been probably worse off. I gathered some more wood for the walls, and then dug out the rest of what would be my temporary little hobbit hole here. And then I would use oak stairs and blocks to get this sort of curved pattern on the roof, and follow that pattern all the way across, giving it a nice uniformed Hobbit Hole look. I liked how it looked, and on the back I went with the planks instead of the logs just because I was a little tight on materials and I didn't want to go out and collect more. Still looked good, but doesn't have the same effect as you can see. After that, we're going to replace the stone floor with cobblestone just because I wanted to keep everything the same pattern. We had some dirt blocks in there, and it really didn't look good. So cobblestone was a cheap and easy solution to me not worrying about having a dirt floor. We gotta live in style. It's a hobbit house. Then we made some torches, quickly lit up our little hobbit hole, and boom, we now have a safe place to sleep, a storage area, and we have a little room to work with in the meantime. So the interior is completely done. We don't need to do much more here. This is just temporary, and it looks good. I was happy with it. But so I did want to make the outside look a little bit nicer, so we went with an oak door and some trapdoors to mimic sort of windows. I don't know. I thought it looked like kind of like windows. And it looks nice. The outside looks really good. Little outside decor and torches, of course, to keep mobs from spawning right outside. So the interior and the exterior was done. I was happy with both, but I think that's the end of day 3. Night was coming, so again, sleeping through day 3 into day 4, where we decided to travel, and of course, about a couple biomes away, we walked and found a desert biome. I grabbed some of the fun blocks, see if I can maybe incorporate that into my hobbit house, and then went down to get the loot, of course, making sure not to trip the TNT, that's always a must. And in the chest we had some gunpowder, a couple horse armor, iron, all great things, and then diamonds. We had 3 diamonds from this desert temple, and a couple saddles which we will put to use later in the video. But so I ran home to drop off more of my goodies and did some decorating while I was by the front door because it was bothering me. So now we have a nice little walkway. And then after that, I decided to continue the walkway down to the right of the mountain and would start making farms and maybe a mine shaft, I thought. Had a nice pathway, and then built up on the side of the mountain to create another little inlet for my mine shaft. Thought it was a good idea at the time. Wasn't sure what I wanted to do with it yet, but that's okay. We'll see right now. Went with oak on this one. Wasn't too happy with the oak, to be honest. But that's okay. End of day 4 was closing fast. Again, that bed is just coming in clutch. We've slept into day 5 of hardcore without a single mob encounter, which is rather impressive. After that, we started putting a roof on the top of our mine shaft entrance, hoping it would come out a lot nicer. It came out okay. It was good for what it needed to be. And as you can see, I was just admiring my work, and then digging out the inside so we can make uniformed walls and have a place to dig down into our mine shaft. And then once I had that all done, I started to dig down on the left and the right there so I can make bubble elevators. And one of the first things I did was take my brand new saddle And as I was leaving to go find a horse, I learned quickly that the night comes very fast. So I slept on day 4 into day 5, and then went back out again because I didn't think about it before I left. But so for now, what we're looking for is a horse. I want to grab a horse so it's a little easier to go out on these adventures, and we're going to have to probably travel a long distance because I need to find something very important for the next part of the project. Luckily, right over the mountain, there was a few horses. I picked this one, best friends forever. His name is Charlie. Charlie the Noble Steed. Charlie the Noble Steed was an excellent hopper. I am very happy I chose him. I wasn't sure what I was going to get, but I was very happy, so I headed off in just one direction. And of course, after a little traveling, I stumbled onto a desert village. In there, I parked Charlie in the pen so I can go and loot the village. I mostly just grabbed all the hay bales. It's a good source of food. I ended up stealing the bell too. I marked an arrow so I knew where to go, and then the night was falling, so I slept in that village for the end of day 5 into day 6. We started day 6 by taking Charlie out of his pen and heading in the same direction that we were before. And we drived, or rode, and rode, and rode, and rode, and rode. But then eventually, we found a village. Not before falling in this hole and almost scaring the daylights out of me. So we grabbed a quick sleep into day 7. After that, we took all the books from that village and then continued on. There was nothing good to loot, and I already had what I needed. So we rode some more. It's becoming very repetitive at this point, and Charlie took a mean beating from that dive right there. Kept going straight, and eventually we finally found what we were looking for. Believe it or not, the reason I took this long trek was because I needed kelp for my bubble elevator for the mine shaft. I expected it to be a lot closer, and by the time I realized that it wasn't worth all the time I was spending, I was too far away and didn't want to come home empty-handed. So I collected about a stack of kelp, and then immediately turned around to continue the journey home. All of this for some kelp. I know. So, started the journey back, once again, riding off into the sunset, into day 7. We spent the night of day 6 mostly riding, didn't have a bed, and it wasn't worth it. The same travel, riding and riding, and day 7 we finally made it to the sand village we found. And on the afternoon of day 7, we finally made it back to our house. Once we got back, we made a little pen for our little horse Charlie, so he was safe while I worked on our next project. I slept, leading into day 8, a wonderful day 8 where we went to the ruined portal right by our house and collected some magma blocks. I wasn't sure if I wanted to just make a dive down where you had to jump into the water or a slow descent down into it. But I figured worst case scenario, it was right next to us and we didn't have to worry. Next, I used the 3 diamonds we found from the desert to make a diamond pickaxe and collect some obsidian and fix the ruined portal so I can actually use it for a normal portal. And we took our first dive into the nether. Very unprepared and very nervous, but we did have gold boots on, so I knew I'd be safe from the hog. I'm not really sure. But once we did that, we just had to do a quick dive down to get some soul sand, and then I wanted to get the heck out of there as fast as I could because the nether is no place for me right now. But I unfortunately need the soul sand for the project, so I can start mining. Once I grabbed the soul sand, I immediately headed back up to the safety of the portal and dove right in without a second question in my mind of should I go back. Of course, as soon as I go back, it's nighttime. So that's the end of day 8 into day 9. day 9 was the day that all the work would get done. We were going to dig down to level 11. It's quite a dive. And was I worried that I might fall in lava? Absolutely. But I was willing to take that risk. At this point, the nether is probably the most scary thing, so I was feeling brave. I was feeling lucky. Eventually, we made our way back to the top, placed the water, dove down, and hit the bottom. Thank God the water was there. Once the water hit us, we used the kelp we collected earlier to build back up on top of the soul stand we placed. And what that is doing, it is turning every water into a water source block. So when we go back down to break the kelp, it'll become a bubble elevator. Unfortunately, I underestimated the length of it and was starting to take damage from drowning. Thank goodness I didn't make it much longer. And on the way down, I actually took a pretty steep dive, and I got down to 1 heart. As you can see, I was kind of panicking right here, so I dug myself into a hole just to try and heal a little bit before opening it back up. And once the bubble elevator was complete, I needed just to door it off. But of course, as soon as I step outside, it's nighttime again. What are you gonna do? So, I slept into day 10. 10 days in hardcore Minecraft, and then I fell. I didn't catch this clip because I went down to the bubble elevator and forgot the water wasn't there on the other side. So I woke up to day 10 and immediately turned around and threw myself off a mountain. And that means that's it for the hardcore challenge. I survived 10 days, I didn't do well. It was not easy, I was having trouble keeping track of days, and as probably you can tell, but I still managed to do it. I did my best, and I will try again if recommended. So let me know what you think, if I should try it again or I should just give up. I'm open to your opinions. I hope you enjoy,